Okay, so once again, we're back in the garage and have to take care of this little baby. So maybe you watched the last video where I changed the front wheel bearings. I followed the manual step by step, it was all good. And then I was basically ready to go. When I pushed the bike out, I made the biggest amateur mistake you can do. You finish your work and then you don't check if everything is fine. I just put the front wheel back together and everything, and I was like, done, perfect, followed the manual, and it's all good. Then when I was ready to leave here, I wanted to push the bike out, and basically my front wheel was not spinning correctly. There was too much resistance, something was just not right. So it was late that night already, and then I basically had someone ready to pick me up here and leave the bike overnight and fix it the next day. And then it took a while for the person to arrive, so I made a post in the Honda Valkyrie Facebook group and asked, guys, what's going on? What did I miss? And within a couple of minutes, I got some comments from some guys saying, basically what happened probably is when you put the front axle through the wheel, the left fork got caught up a little bit, and it's not 100% flush with the outside of the axle. So I went back and checked, and it was really, my axle was sticking out by 2 or 3 millimeters. So I took a long screwdriver, pushed it between the brake disc and the front fork, and just pried it out a little bit. Doesn't take much force. And it just jumped out, and that was it. Wheel was spinning fine, everything was good, and I basically could ride the bike back home. So I was riding for a couple of days, everything seemed normal, and then one day I was on the highway, and suddenly my speedo went from the speed that I did to needle went down to 0, and I didn't have a speedo anymore. So I took it all apart, checked everything, and basically my speedometer gear housing, I took it out and tried to spin the speedo gear, and it was stuck completely. Like, it was completely seized, and on the bottom you could see that it was all chewed up, like the fins on the speedo gear on the bottom, they were completely chewed up. So I ordered a speedo gear. I also took my speedo cable out, which then on the bottom, that is the speedo cable that goes into your speedometer gear housing, right? And it's completely chewed up. Like, I don't know what I've done there, but it's just completely chewed up. So I ordered a new one of these. I also ordered a completely new speedometer gear housing. And basically that's what we're going to do today. But before all that, I talked to the Honda parts guy, and he said, you know what, just order the speedo gear and you can exchange that, and that should do it. My thinking then was, we have a ride coming up in a couple of weeks. I want to get this bike fixed completely again. So I have the speedo gear here, and maybe you can see those little fins in there, and those were completely chewed up in my speedometer gear housing. So I will show you, I will take it all apart again, and then I can show you everything, show you how my seized one looks and what a new speedometer gear housing looks like. And then we try to get it all back together correctly, and then the bike is fixed. It's also, if you spin a wheel on a Honda Valkyrie on the front, are we down on the bottom again? Looks like it. Now we are in the air. So if you spin the wheel, it shouldn't be like this and shouldn't make that sound. It should just be spinning. So That's what we're going to do today. So we have the wheel here. This is my speedometer gear housing. If I try to twist the speedo needle around here, it's not moving. Like, it is completely seized. The same here with the speedo gear. If I want to move my speedo gear, it's not moving. And there's probably not enough light. But that speedo gear on the bottom, the fins, they are completely chewed up. Like, the nylon pieces, I picked them all out. It was just completely chewed up. So that's why my speedo stopped working. But basically, the wheel is spinning, grabs the speedo gear, which is spinning, which then moves that needle here, where the speedo cable is attached to. The cable is spinning, 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 and shows you your speed and counts your mileage. So this is the new speedometer gear housing. You can see the part number. And if we look at there's some grease in there already. Yeah. So I guess I don't have to do anything here. So if you look at this one now, I can spin this with my finger, and then the needle is spinning, and that's where my speedometer cable is attached to, and I get my speed and my mileage, right? That's how it should be. You spin it, and everything is moving smoothly. Now, I show you my old one again. I can't spin anything. It's just not moving. It's completely seized. And my thinking right now is just when I changed the front wheel bearings and put the bike back together and then had problems because the fork was pushed in a little bit too hard, that there was just too much pressure and it never got released. And something must have happened where I just didn't pay enough attention and I effed up. I have had this front wheel out I don't know how many times, never had a problem putting it back together, never. I show you my speedo cable again. Look at that. Like, it got completely chewed up. The cable is still fine. If I spin this, it spins up here, it's all good. But just where it connects to the speedometer gear housing, even here where this bolt is, it's just everything got chewed up. Like, yeah, I did a really poor job there, I guess. So, but let's just focus now and get this done all correctly. Make sure that the front fork leg is not caught up or anything, and yeah. Just a bit on this side and a bit on this side. Okay. Okay, we got this all the way through. We also made sure that in here, like from the speedometer gear housing, there's a little lip, and that one has to be behind this, otherwise it can spin. So, boom, it hits it up here. If I spin it around, you see it there on top here. If I move this, click, it stops. That's what we want. Looking here at the front axle, it looks kind of flush, right? But I think if I take my screwdriver again and pry it out a little bit, that the left front fork leg will move out a little bit. So let's see what happens. I think that's good. And it feels way better than my old one, because I think my old one didn't have the O-ring there on the front. So this should be good. And now we can check as well. If we spin the wheel, it's spinning up here. Okay, so that's good. That's what we want. And now we can attach this back to the speedo on top. That is on. Wheel is spinning nicely. The only thing we have there is the brakes that will get better when riding. So now we just have to pump the brakes. Take off the lift, pump the brakes. Now what I want to do is just sit on the bike, put in neutral. I don't hear anything. It rolls nicely. I think that was a good job. Okay. Just wanted to show you guys what mistakes were made by me. Stupid mistakes, expensive mistakes. But it was thankfully an easy fix. And now it's 2 more weeks, and then it's a 6-day riding trip is coming up. I'm excited. All right. Thanks, see you soon. Okay, now let's come to the fun part of the video. We have to make sure the bike is running. It's in neutral. She got a little cleaning. I would say she's running.